Yeah, so my hamstring locked up as I was walking off the track. So, like having as many injuries as I had, I kind of knew what that meant. I didn't know how serious it was, but I knew that the meet was over,
Yeah.
and most likely my season was over because my time probably wasn't fast enough to make regionals at the time. So, like, I laid on the track because one, because like my leg hurt,
Yeah.
but two, because like it just like everything kind of hit me at once.
Yeah.
I just like couldn't feel like I didn't feel like I could stand up. So yeah, bro, that was a hard moment. But at the at the team meeting afterward, when Coach Lambert talked to us, and he said that Nick was replacing me on the relay, I was like, yo, Coach, you can't do this. Like, you can't. Like, he's. I didn't feel like he was ready at the time to do what had to be done.
Nice you.
Yeah. No offense, my son, but like he just like I didn't feel like he was prepared for the position that we were putting him in to be anchor at conferences.
Don't want to set him up for failure.
Exactly. So I was like, yo, like just put me in, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, we win. It's blessed, but don't do that to him right now, because like putting all that onto a freshman, and if it doesn't work out, then like
And on anchor.
it's mainly his fault. Don't do that to him, you know. But obviously, he didn't listen to me. And I felt watching you guys run that day. I felt even worse because you guys were on point. Like, y'all were moving. And then Navy ran what, like 39-7? And we just beat them last week at Penn Relays.
Like easy.
So I was like, yo, we would have ran like, we would have been moving. We would have been moving that day. So part of me feels like, one, I didn't get the time. Two, I didn't get to run with you guys. So maybe I should have just stopped off the corner, because running on it after probably didn't make it better. But hindsight's 2020, you know? I can't really say that. But you know, after junior year in running 20 point, I was getting funded by Athletics Canada. So I was obligated to run for provincial championships and Canadian championships.
What other type of funding, like what other things were they giving you besides just like money and how much?
How much were they giving me? I don't remember. I think it was like 3,000. 4,000. Because I was still a college athlete, so like most of my expenses were paid for. It was just for extra stuff like a dietitian, massages, food to go with the diet plan, etc. So they weren't paying my living or anything like that. So, but I had to restrict my eating for many reasons. One, I was too heavy for what I was doing. And two, they wanted me to move up to the 4. So I was obviously too heavy for that. I'm already too heavy for what I'm doing. Looking back, like, I was huge. I was huge. Like, right now, I feel like I'm a lot smaller than I was. But right now, I'm like 192. So I'm like, yo, what was I running at, bro? Like, was I like breaking 205? Like, what was I doing out here? But like, I had this thing. Once the season started, I never weighed myself because I didn't want to have that in my head. Because I usually started the season around like 188, and by the time racing started, I was probably around like 190, 192.
Yeah. 192. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I didn't want to get that in my head that like I'm carrying 205 pounds around 400 meters. I didn't want to. Why? Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect what I'm about to do tomorrow. So like, I still got to run 400 meters. So I never weighed myself, but just like my physique, I was too top heavy. Like my thighs were too big to run what they wanted me to run the 400. So I had to cut my weight, which the diet was grueling. It wasn't fun. But
Do they also give you like training or facilities to use to like help out with that, or just facilities and training in general?
so the place I was talking about in high school where like everyone in Toronto trains, they made an extension of that be the high performance area. So like they use the same track, but they have like an extra spot for like, smoothies and ice baths and athletic trainers. They have their own lifting area too.
It's only for y'all.
So yeah. So you have to have a key card you could tap in. So they have that for us. They have athletic trainers for us, dietitians. Psychiatrists if you need them. Everything that you could ever need as an athlete is there. There's a lot of hubs across Canada. I think there's one in Toronto, there's one in Quebec, there's one in BC. I think there's one in Middle Canada, probably. I don't know if anyone lives there, but there's probably one over there. So they developed these hubs like kind of like, I think 2016, to kind of build up Canadian track and field.
Yeah.
So when I was home, I could use the facilities and stuff, but the money was kind of for when I was not home, when I was over here. So when I went home, I wasn't allowed to train with my coach anymore. I had to train with the high performance group, which was kind of a change. A welcome change because, I had people that were running the same event as me and could push me daily.
How big was the team that you were training with? Like one coach, two coach, three training partners?
The high performance team?
Yeah, high performance team.
I had 3 training partners, 1 coach. And like there was other like short sprinters that we would train with for like block day, speed day, but they weren't out with us on a day-to-day. So it was 3 people, including myself, doing long sprint workouts. Because after I graduated, I immediately switched gears to run the 400. Even though I wanted to, rehab and take a crack at the 200 again, see if I could get, 20-point low, 20-point mid. Because I felt like if I run 20.4 in, 2018? Then by 2020, who's saying I can't run 19? Like, there's no reason why you would say I can't run 19. So I felt like if they gave me the summer to do that, then it would be a valid petition to let me continue. But they weren't for that because they already have Andre, Rodney, Aaron, Gavin, Balade, all them running 20-point low. So they didn't need another person for that. They need someone running 45 consistently, 44. So that wasn't what they wanted from me. So, and if they're giving you the money and giving you the facilities and whatnot, they can kind of dictate what you do. So the goal for that summer was to get back to 20-point high, 20.7 hopefully, and run like 47 low, which didn't happen. I ran like 21.1 and 47.9 again, which was fine. I was able to cut my weight down, probably the best shape I'll ever be in my life, because I was ready for Banner. I was out here. Yo, at a certain point, I was like, because after Nationals was like beginning of July, Banner's the beginning of August. So like between July and August, I'm keeping this up for Banner, bro. I look nice. I look good right now. I'm keeping this up. But yeah, I got my weight down. I got my stamina up. They had me running like 20 minutes weekly. 30 minutes. And it was like, I thought it was dumb, but it was like, you're supposed to run, and then it was 30 minutes of nonstop movement. So like when you need a break, like you could like do like a little tippy tap jog, but when you're running, like you're supposed to be running. It's not jogging. And I was like, that seems like excessive, but whatever. I don't know how to train for the 400. Never done it. So if this is what it takes, it's what it takes. And yeah, man, my senior year ended at nationals, Canadian nationals. I ran 21.3 again. Pulled my hamstring off the corner again. Didn't make the final. And then I didn't realize that would be the last Canadian nationals I was at. Like, I always felt like I'll be back. Like, I'll be back. Maybe we run the 4, but I'll be back. And yeah, I wasn't. Yeah. So
like, just trying to get a better idea on like what was the decision making, because I know doing BME all through school, and you said you're in your PhD program now, so was the academic career stuff, one of the bigger factors on not pursuing college, or was it injuries, or was it just like, not getting that thrill from that junior year excitement, that, Penn Reedless excitement, like which of the...
Kind of like a combination of everything. It was just, I don't know, like, one, I was training for the 4.
Yes.
I don't love the 4. Anyone who loves the 4 is crazy. No offense. 2, when I came back to school, I was doing it alone. I didn't have my training partners. I didn't have a coach for a long time. I didn't have a coach. I reached out to Tremaine at Northeastern. I started coaching with them, and then I asked her if she would train me, and she said that she'd get back to me, and by the time she got back to me, I decided to stop already. So I didn't have a coach for the time that I was here. I think the year I graduated kind of affected my decision. A lot of my friends who were on the youth team with me, and like in the pool of the next generation, had decided to take time off to focus primarily on track until 2020, so until this year. But 2 years kind of felt like a long time for me. If I graduated last year, I could see myself being like, oh, I'll just take a year and see what happens. But 2 years kind of felt like in 2 years I could have a master's. Like in 2 years I could do a lot. I could do a lot in 2 years. In a year, like, I could make that up. But I felt like 2 years was a long time. So I decided to do both, which wasn't a great idea. Just like, there was a lot of things that you don't realize, or like you take for granted, as either, because from junior year to senior year, I was always taken care of. Like, either BU took care of me or Athletics Canada took care of me. There was never a time where, even before that, like, my parents were taking care of me. But there was never a time where I had to, like, decide things for myself or organize things myself. So it was just a big change to, like, understand what it takes to be a high performance athlete. Like, I wanted to keep up my diet, which means I had to buy better groceries. It means I had to buy protein powder. I had to buy vitamins. I had to buy supplements. So it got expensive. And I just, like, I feel like since I wasn't I wasn't in the group that I described before, like, that loves the sport. Like, I loved the success, and I loved the moments that came with the sport. I loved the day to day where like I'm with my teammates, joking around, even though we're dying and stuff. Being alone and like having to do workouts alone, like when you don't love working out, it sucks. Like it sucks, and like I don't know what like was the breaking point. I kind of just decided like either it's something I decided for a long time. But either I'm gonna stop my program and I'm gonna go home and train, or I'm not running anymore. Like a choice had to be made because being here in Boston wasn't conducive to the kind of performances I wanted to put out. So I had to decide whether or not I wanted to be here and do school or go home and do track full time with the high performance group. And I decided that I wanted to continue school. I think a main reason for that was that they would move me up to the 4. If I got to run the 2, I think it would have been a harder decision, a decision that might have ended up with me running for a little longer. But with the 4, like I didn't love it.
The training is.
I didn't love it, and like the training was hard, and I just didn't have that same passion for it. So yeah, all those things kind of like came together for me to make this decision. It wasn't an easy decision because, like, as I said, I love the moments, and making the Olympic team would be a moment. You know, making the world team would have been a moment. Making the world relay team would have been a moment that I remember forever. But like, I just wasn't willing to put my future on hold for the possibility of maybe doing something, you know, because the thing about belief, right, is that when you believe something, it's different than when other people believe things for you, you know? Like for me, like for the 200, right, I believe that I'm that kind of, like that I got that talent. I got that kind of speed, that kind of talent in the 200. So me, if you're the Olympic coach and you say, Cameron, I think you could do this in the 200, I'm already thinking that. So like, let's do it. You know, it's less of a maybe for me if they said the 200. But in the 4, I know that based on my 200 and based on my physique and how I run my 200, I should run 45 seconds. But nothing in my experiences have shown me that I can do that. Like, yeah, I've run 33 seconds in the 3, but it wasn't the way a 400 person would run it, you know? Yeah, I've run 103? But it was, 103 in the 5, but it wasn't the way a 400 person would run it. Like, I never ran a fast time in the manner that I think 400 people do those times. So it was more of a long shot for me to be like, yeah, I'm definitely about to make the Olympic team in the 400. Because I never had that kind of belief in my 400, my long sprint events, anything over 300 meters, 250, anything over 250. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I think it worked out for the best. When this season started, and like, you know, Dwayne and Justin and Maya and Leia and everyone was like, Road to Tokyo, it kind of hit me. Like, damn. Like this was my group. Like, I grew up with these people in the sport. and then they're training for something that I'm not. You know, they make the team. Would I be like, oh, what could I have made the team?
Yeah.
You know, it's always going to be a maybe. It was going to be a if. But now I could just talk shit forever. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, you only made the team because I quit. If I was still running, whew, dang, you'd have no Olympic teams. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
One of my last few questions is, how do you, still, besides, talking shit, still connect with track, or at least, find, maybe not track related, find your own little moments of like, I had a goal, I was meticulous, I set it out, I achieved it, and I have this really good feeling now. Like,
See, I hate to burst your bubble, fam, but like, there's nothing like sports. Like, there's nothing like it. Like, there's just, like, there's nothing that will make you so excited that you want to scream ever again in life. Like, I'm sure when I have my first baby, I'm going to be very excited. But I'm not going to just start screaming because, like,
doctor's like, yo, calm down.
the baby going to be like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, relax, you know? Or like at my wedding, I'm gonna be very excited. I'm not gonna start screaming. Like, it's just a different kind of like feeling. Graduating is kind of like that feeling, but like more emotional than like than exhilarating. Yeah. But I still connect with track. I still volunteer coach with the BU and Northeastern teams sometimes. I don't think the coaches know that I do both. If they watch this, they gonna know that I've been helping both sides. But yeah, I still volunteer. Like, there's still a lot I feel I can give to the sport, a lot of knowledge I want to give to the next generation. Because, like, if anything, I know what it takes to be semi-great, you know what I'm saying? I didn't make it to the top of the mountain because, in my opinion,
you're on the
injuries.
Path, you're in the cohort,
Yeah, in my opinion, it was injuries, but, whether or not I was injured, I didn't make it. Like, that's what history will show, that I didn't make it. But those who know, they know.
They're thankful.
But I still try and give back. My thesis is on running, which has been fun to kind of like analyze running in a scientific way, because I'm used to analyzing running, like looking at how you run and be like, oh, you should probably like not sit so much, or like you kind of back kick when you do this, but like quantifying that has been fun. So kind of like melding my two worlds of engineering and athletics has been interesting. My thesis would probably kind of follow the same kind of path, but diverging into more wearable technologies, but that's a tangent that we don't have to get into. But I don't know, I just kind of like mentoring. I don't know if I like coaching and like developing plans, but I like giving tips and giving tips and, reaching out, making sure that, people are good and focused and they need help, got questions, need advice, I'm here. Because I know what it's like to be in those situations, to feel frustrated with training, to feel like you're not, going to achieve your goal this year or all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
That wraps it up, It's not much.
Word.
Sign out. Any last messages, advice, lecture points? Shout out to the Six. Any shout out, boy Drake?
Or shout out to Six Side, obviously, Toronto, repping it. Shout out to Etobicoke Track and Field, where it all started. Marceau, Malik, you know who it is. Man, just shout out just track and field in general, man. It's an underrated sport for real. People think that you don't need to be athletic to do track, but they're wrong. Only athletic people do track well. Only athletic people do track well. There's still there's some people that aren't athletic that do track, but they don't do.
Heat 36.
They should really have qualifying times for Valentine, bro, because it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. You got men running 26. Come on, bro. Come on, dog. If you're not 60 years old, come on, bro. Let's get off the track. Yeah, dog, but it's been fun. I appreciate what y'all are doing. Wish you did it a little earlier, because, your boy needed it. But it's good, bro. That whole censoring thing, it stopped halfway through the interview.
Yeah.